Boys, almost a year to the day since we lost our great mate Danny Frawley. I don't know about any of you, but hardly a day goes by that I don't think of Spud. One of the main reasons why is because I drive pretty much every day past the Middle Brighton Baths, where, Damo, we used to see Spud emerge out of that bloody thing. He was meant to have a full-time job where he got to work at about 8:30. It'd be 11:45. He'd have just got out of the shower, having been in the sauna, with his collar up and a coffee in his hand. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. And he always used to somehow bump into a jockey who had just given him a tip for that day's races, and usually that tip did not salute.
That's it. He'd be walking out
from that sauna that you referred to.
A stupid sort of head forward walk he used to do, Spud.
Yeah.
And we miss him enormously, as does this man, our great mate from Adelaide, Mark Rasciuto, the 8-time All-Australian superstar. Rasciuto.
How are you, boys?
How are you, mate?
Very good. The sun's shining over here in Adelaide. I just had couple of Carlton drafts at the pub and got the old man down for Father's Day. Should be a good day.
Rupert, my good mate Pommer's having his 50th there today. You're part of that?
He is. Yeah, no, he's got a free keg, the bugger, too. So, buddy looking after him.
Zero cases, South Australia, completely free of COVID-19.
Did you hear what he just said he's doing today?
Free keg.
He's doing anything he wants to do.
Yeah, they're in the beer garden with 50 guys having a party.
It'll be well behaved, Duck. Thank God you're not here. And then you're right.
Now, Rasciuto, years and years ago, you reptiles, I distanced myself from this. You reptiles used to go on a trip through country Victoria for Toyota, magnificent company, of course, and get up to some very nefarious business. And Spud was a part of it, and one famous year things got a little out of hand, yes?
Yeah, well, it did. It's fair to say. It was a bit probably like the Richmond boys during the week at the strip joint up in Gold Coast, a bit like that. But no, look, Brian used to run this trip, and we used to get a couple. We'd get a couple $100. We'd get a couple $100 a day and work like dogs, and I'm sure Brian got a car and about 50,000 for organising it. But anyway, and we'd do about 3 or 4 schools a day. We'd be up early. I'd do a lot of kilometres. We basically covered everywhere in Victorian country. So we'd work hard and a lot of time on the bus. And Spud, who's always never far away from a tip, just like you said before, said, all right, it's Wednesday, let's put a quaddie on. And, of course, I wasn't too far away from the form guides. I said, righto, give us 50 each to get around. And had to convince BT to put his money. In fact, it was an IOU from BT. He said, I'll be one of those blokes who want to go in the quaddie, never hand over the money, and then if it wins, he's first to the bloody machine to get his payout. Anyway, I get a couple of sets of mail from pro punters, and we're dissecting it while we're on the bus. And the night before, we'd had a bit of an issue, and some bloke had done a brown eye, and there was a tip. There was a horse in the race.
Who was on the bus? So Roughhead was there. Hodgie, I think, was there.
I can't remember. We've done that many trips.
Who did the
Brown? Nath Brown was there. Steve Perry was there.
Anyway, there was a heap of them. There was a heap of blokes on there. And anyway, it was the horse called Pink Moon was in the last. We said, we better bloody chuck that in after, the bloke did a brown eye last night, so we chucked that in.
What were the odds of it? What were the odds of pretty, obviously, huge odds?
There was no money for it, and it drifted out to sort of $50, right? So anyway, we had the first 3 legs.
We're getting pretty bored at this stage. We're driving highway after highway.
Highway after highway. Spud's pacing the whole way of the bus going, come on, if Pink Moon gets up here, we're going to win a fortune.
Oh, no.
Anyway, let's have a listen to how the last leg of the quaddie goes.
But hang on, before we do that,
all right.
Imagine the bus, Roo, so it had one little speaker in the ceiling about the midpoint of the bus, and you had 12 guys with an ear within a metre of that speaker.
All right, let's have a listen.
You can just hear it in the background. Pink Moon's
A 50-1 shot in the 4th leg.
waiting on the result.
58,000. Boys have gone psycho in the bus. Nathan Brown there from the Richmond Footy Club.
$58,000 we got on in the middle of Boona, whoop whoop in the middle of nowhere, buddy. So then BT straight up. How much do we get? How much do we get? Come on, get my night. How much do we get?
Where's your 50, Brian?
And we went to the TAB, and the TAB said, sorry, we can only give you 7. So we went to about 5 TABs to get a little bit out of each.
Yeah.
And then remember that night we went to this pub in Bendigo, and we had bottles of wine that were just worth thousands, and we had a beautiful and Spud ended up getting one of the young kids who was like a roadie on the trip.
Yeah.
Corey was his name. Got him on the bench in the middle of the pub and started shearing him like a shearer.
What happens on the Toyota trip should stay on the Toyota trip. He was drinking he sculled a jug that night.
Yes, he did. He did.
He was losing it.
The bill at the end of the night. The bill at the end of the night, and I think it was for 20 people, was like 19,500.
1,000 each.
Yeah, it was just bizarre.
Hey,
And then had to get up early and do it all again the next day. They were great trips, and he was. I mean, BT, you played your bloody good role as well, but you and Spud on those trips, I mean, that is exactly why I took a few years in a row. It was just great fun, looking after the kids. Every time we'd jump out of the bus at these coaching clinics, and you've all done them in there, boys. They're hard work after you've done a few of them, but you'd come out of the bus to music, and Spud would be out there spinning a yarn and giving everyone an ear massage and telling them how to mark the ball, get the W up, and punch the ball, all the stuff. It was great fun, really good fun.
Hey, Rashid, was that the same one where you had Hodgie on the deck and pretty much he was like a Labrador puppy?
Yes.
That was day one.
One trip, they had Roughhead, Hodgie, and Lewis.
Yes.
Now, Ruffy's the only good one out of those. The other two are smart asses after a few drinks. Anyway, I've got a bit of a country fashion statement. I had a bloody, like a sort of a druggy-looking shirt on, and the boys just, a few beers in, they started getting a bit of confidence up. They said, geez, nice shirt, Ruth. That's all right. No worries. Anyway, 5 minutes later, they've gone again. I said, this but
I thought, stuff it. I read what I thought.
Roo, you're on radio. You do it for a living.
All right, so you thought, stuff it. Keep going.
Yeah.
and then marched him out the front door of the pub outside, and then locked the door, and we just continued to drink inside.
The door exiting was a bit more dramatic than that. Imagine the saloon bar door was an old country pub.
Yeah.
There was tumbleweed going down the main street, and all of a sudden the saloon double doors just whack, and out come Hodge, who was in a massive bear headlock that Roo had him, and all you could see was his bonds, and he was being dragged parallel to the ground into the middle of the main street of Albury, where Roo pummeled him. This is Luke Hodge.
That's it.
Pummeled him. Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah, and then my understanding, Roo, was he then turned to Louis and said, "And do you want some of the same?" And Louis like, "No, thanks. I'm actually all right."
At that stage, they hadn't won 4 flags. They'd only won probably 1 at that stage,
Yeah.
so that was all right. Anyway, it was all about Spud, and he was the leader of the ship, and that's why it ended up a bit out of control, wasn't it, BT?
Yep, he's 100% right. He was a great leader of men in an environment like that, and he made sure you all had a good time.
All right, Rashid, go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we're very envious here in Melbourne that you can have that sort of day.
Send me some
That's
pics.
all right. Duck, I'll take control of them for you, all right?
Yep. Thanks, mate. Send me some pics.
All right. See you, boys.
Well done.
See you, Root.
Superstar, that man.